Hey guys, Zuzunatural here. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I make videos on clean beauty, skincare, health and wellness, and crystals. So if you're interested in any of those topics, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down there somewhere. Today is a crystal video, and we're going to be doing a crystal Q&A. This is part 2. We've already done part 1, so go ahead and check that out because I may have answered some of the questions you might have. If I haven't, perhaps I'll answer them in this video. Stay tuned. Okay, so what's our first question? Our first question is, do you have to reprogram your crystal every time you cleanse it? No, you don't have to reprogram your crystal every time you cleanse it. So, most importantly, when you first purchase your crystal, along with cleansing your crystal, you're going to want to program your crystal. We don't know where this crystal's been. We don't know who's been working with this crystal. We don't know what kind of programs this crystal already has because remember, crystals hold memory. So what I'll generally do is I'll go ahead and cleanse my crystal. I'll take my sage and I'll light my sage and I'll go ahead and smudge it. And as I'm smudging it and cleansing it, I'll say something like, I release any negative energy that you hold. I release any energy that is not here to serve my greater good, right? Something like that. It doesn't have to be that, right? So I'll cleanse it. And then now I want to program it, which is just focused intent. What do you want to achieve with working with this crystal? So this is a quartz crystal. So I might say something like, please help me, because you want to talk to your crystal like it's your friend. I know it might sound a little crazy, but crystals are tools that help you. They're not something that you use, so to speak. They help you raise your frequency. So please help me to have crystal clear thinking, right? That might be your programming, and it's going to stay there until you reprogram it. So keep in mind, if you have this in the home, it might be picking up other energies that are in the home or other things that you say. So when you are cleansing them and you feel like, let me just make sure it's still programmed, or if you want to program it with another message, then you'll do it then. There's no need to reprogram every single time you cleanse. There's no need to do that. Question number 2, does it matter what day you choose to cleanse your crystals? Yes and no. So essentially, no. Doesn't matter what day or what time you choose to cleanse your crystals. When you feel like you need to cleanse your crystals, you cleanse your crystals, right? However, if there are certain energies that you're trying to tap into, let's say we just had the fall equinox, right, on the 23rd. Let's say that you wanted to cleanse and program your crystals for the fall equinox, for the changing of the season, right, for this season. It would have been a perfect time for you to do that. Let's say you want to cleanse and charge them for like a full moon or a new moon, right? That would be a lovely time to do it. However, it's not necessary. It just depends on what energy you're trying to tap into. So if you need to cleanse your crystals, doesn't matter what time, doesn't matter what day, night, Saturday, Monday, doesn't matter. You go ahead and cleanse your crystals. But there may be special rituals that you want to do with your crystals as far as cleansing and charging or cleansing and programming or meditating with that falls on some sort of special day, because each of the days have energies associated with them, right? Numerology, numbers have energy associated with them. Everything is energy. So if you think about it in that terms, if you want to go jump deeper down into the rabbit hole of energy and frequencies, then you might want to start choosing certain days and certain times, but you don't have to. You do not have to. You don't have to make this complicated. Just cleanse your crystals when you feel like cleansing your crystals. If I meditate with my crystals, do I have to cleanse them every time? I think we had a similar question to this in part 1, but I'm going to answer this one again because I think it was slightly different. So if you meditate with your crystals, do you have to cleanse them every time? I cleanse my crystals after I use them. Okay, so not in a sense of I just have this crystal in the room and I don't cleanse this every day. If it's sitting in the room, I'll go ahead and cleanse this when I kind of do an energy clearing and smudging of the room. I let that be incorporated with that, and that might happen every Sunday. Sunday is like my self-care day. That's a good day for me to do that. But as far as a crystal that I'm going to meditate with, and very often I meditate with this piece of selenite. I love this piece of selenite. This is like one of my BFF crystals. So if I'm going to meditate with this selenite, and selenite might not be the best example because it's self-cleansing, even though I told you guys I cleanse it. If I'm going to meditate with this chunk of rose quartz, I'll go ahead and do my meditation. And when I'm done, I'll just put it down. I'll just put it down like, wherever I put my crystals. They're all over the place. But I'll just put it down. I won't necessarily cleanse it at that point. But when I get ready to work with this crystal again, whether it's just me carrying it around, me just holding it, me meditating with it, whatever. Because sometimes I just hold my crystals. I might be watching a movie and I just want to hold it. Just want to hold it. I just want to feel that energy. That is when I will go ahead and cleanse it, and right before I'm about to actually work with it again. That way I'm clearing out whatever we did before, which may or may not be beneficial to what I'm about to do with it. Go ahead and clear that out. Tabula rasa, right? Blank slate, start over, and now I'm going to work with this crystal from this point on. And then when I'm done, I'll put it down and then we'll start that process all over again. If I pick it up again, I'm going to go ahead and cleanse it because now I want to have fresh vibes, fresh energy, and I want to work with it maybe with a new intention, right? I might have wanted to do a self-love the last time I did a meditation, and this time I might want to do some sort of romantic love. Does rose quartz lose its color if you keep it in the sun? Great question. Rose quartz does lose its color if you keep it in the sun. It can lose its color. Most of the quartz, whether it be rose quartz, amethyst, smoky quartz, citrine, they can lose color from prolonged sunlight. They can. So you don't want to keep these crystals in the sun. Doesn't mean that you can't charge them, cleanse and charge them in the sun, but don't leave them there. Like some people might leave a crystal like right in the window, and you don't want to do that with these crystals because they will lose color. For example, this amethyst has lost color because it's right in the path of direct light near the window, not in the window, but the light comes through the window and shines right on it, and it's much lighter than it used to be. This used to be a much darker piece of amethyst, and it does fade. So the only crystals that I'll necessarily leave near or try to leave near a light or a window are the clear ones. Like clear quartz is not going to fade because it's clear. It's not going to fade. So also crystals like selenite, because sunlight cleanses and charges your crystals. So it's really a nice way to cleanse and charge for those crystals that can handle it or those crystals that do like it. So yes, they can fade. They can. Adventurine fades. I know that one fades. All of the quartz that have colors, the rose quartz, amethyst, citrine, smoky quartz, they will fade. And this is with prolonged sunlight, not from you just going out and deciding that you want to cleanse and charge your crystal and keeping it out in the sun for 6 hours. That's not going to do it. But prolonged sunlight, yes, it will. Can you use more than one method to cleanse a crystal? Absolutely. Very often I do use more than one method to cleanse a crystal. So one of my favorite methods, and to me is just one of the most easiest methods, is to smudge with a sage, a white sage smudge. Smells so nice. So that's one of the easiest ways, because what happens is the smoke kind of binds the negative energy and then dispels it. So that's like the whole reasoning behind smudging. So it doesn't even have to be a sage smudge, although sage has been used since ancient times in rituals, spirituality, religion, to do just that. But you can also use, and this is another question someone asked, could I use Rosemary. Yes, you can absolutely use a rosemary smudge. I've used juniper smudge. I've used lavender smudges. They're all wonderful. Basically, that smoke is going to bind up that negative energy and then dispel it. So they'll all do a smudge, but the different herbs will have different properties. So the sage will have a different property than the rosemary, than the lavender, than the juniper. But also, we went over this in my selenite video. You can use selenite to cleanse crystals. This will cleanse and charge your crystal. You use it kind of as like a charging station, and you place your crystals on it. So very often I'll do both. I'll smudge it. I'll pop it on the selenite. Also, one that we haven't really talked about is cleansing with sound. Cleansing with sound is one of the easier ways as well, because you kind of hit it. Oh, I love this. You hit it and you can get all of the crystals in the room. And you just go up to them and hit them with a little bit of sound energy, and that clears a crystal as well. And so you can also use a bell, this Tibetan bell. You can do that as well. So I'll do all of them. Okay, like I go crazy. And if it's a full moon or a new moon, I might put them out for cleansing and charging then. But very often, if I put it out for cleansing and charging with a full moon or a new moon or even sunlight, I rinse them first in water. If it's a crystal that can handle water, okay? So make sure it is a crystal that can handle water. I might do a whole video on that. Let me know in the comments if you guys want a video on how to know whether you can cleanse a crystal in water. Drop it in the comments. But so yes, the answer is you can use multiple methods to cleanse a crystal, or you could just use one. It's up to you. It's up to you. I use multiple methods because I'm extra. Is there a such thing as wearing too many crystals? No. Ideally, I want to say no, right? Because what we don't want to do is make working with crystals so complicated. I feel like so many people make it so complicated. It does not have to be complicated. And generally, if you use your intuition, you know what to do with crystals. But I get it. Sometimes you guys want to know because you don't want to work with them incorrectly, or you don't know if it's working. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know if it's right, wrong. I try not to look at things in terms of right or wrong when it comes to crystals. So what I'll say is this. So I wear multiple crystals pretty much at all times. Right now I have on turquoise, which I pretty much have on every single day. I love this ring. I've had it for over a decade. It's one of my favorites. I wear it all the time. Turquoise is an amazing, amazing stone. Also, I have on carnelian right here. I feel like turquoise and carnelian work really well together. If you look at a lot of the ancient Egyptian statues or monuments, you'll see turquoise, carnelian, and often accompanied by lapis lazuli working well together. I also have on citrine. And so that's 3 crystals that I just have on my person. Also, I'll have crystals, like if I go out, I'll put some crystals in my pocket, I'll put some crystals in my bag. And so I'll have multiple crystals on. What I generally try to do is I try to choose a theme. So what is it that I'm trying to accomplish today? What kind of energy am I trying to have today? And I'll kind of go from there and choose crystals that I feel work well together. So yeah, it probably is a such thing as too many darn crystals, especially if you're choosing crystals that don't work well together. But in general, I haven't seen anyone who I think has too many crystals on. You don't want to like Mr. T it, like how he had all the gold chains. You probably don't want to do that. But go with your intuition and feel how you feel. Like really pay attention to how you feel when you're wearing particular crystals and take it from there. Is there a difference between cleansing and charging a crystal? Absolutely, there is a difference. So cleansing or clearing a crystal or cleaning a crystal, all relating to the same thing, is getting rid of negative energy or unwanted energy stored in the crystal. That is what cleansing the crystal is. But charging the crystal is energizing the crystal, boosting it back up to its natural state. That's charging the crystal. So I kind of look at it like, is cleansing and charging you the same thing, right? So if you're cleansing and you're going to go take a shower, right? And you're going to rinse all the negative energy off of you from the day. You've just cleansed, you're feeling good. Maybe it's self-care Sunday and now you need to recharge yourself, right? It's the end of the week and you want to get yourself energized. And so you're going to do some sort of special whatever it is that you do to feel charged. Maybe you're going to go take a jog. Maybe you're going to do some yoga. Maybe you're just going to relax. So it's kind of the same thing. So you're going to cleanse the crystal and then charge the crystal. Now, there are some methods that cleanse and charge. For example, sunlight, putting a crystal in direct sun. And remember, we did say you have to be careful with some crystals, but that cleanses and charges. Just like the sun charges you, it charges crystals. Moonlight, same thing, cleansing and charging. People ask, do I have to do a full moon or a new moon? No, you don't. You don't have to. I just like to choose a full moon or a new moon because of the energy associated with those moons. That also cleanses and charges. Same thing with selenite, cleanses and charges. So there are some methods that will do both, but in general, you're going to cleanse and then you're going to charge. So you're going to clear away negative energy and then you're going to boost it back up to its natural state, energize it. How do I cleanse a crystal using sage? That's a good question. I'm very visual, so I realize that a lot of people are visual, so I'm just going to go through the process and show you. So what I will tell you is, in essence, the smoke from the sage will go ahead and gather and pull and draw all of that negative energy and then dispel it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our sage. I already lit it. So I have an abalone shell here and I have my sage here. And what I'll do is, let me just relight this because I feel like it can be. So we're going to start and we're going to light the sage, right? We're going to light the sage, let it get all nice. Well, okay. So now we've got a nice smoke happening right here. Got a nice smoke. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our crystal and we're going to, ooh, this shell is hot. We're going to take this crystal and we're going to get it in the smoke, right? And we're going to let the smoke kind of take that negative energy from the crystal and then dispel it off into the smoke. So that's what we're going to do. And I'll just hold it over a crystal, over the flame, and I'll just try to hit every angle. And I'll let that smoke do its job. Sometimes I'll say something like, release all negative energy held within this crystal. Release any energy that does not suit my higher purpose. Release any unwanted energy. And I'll do something like that. And that's it. That's all you do. You don't have to hold it there for a long time. You hold it there for a little bit. Like I said, I'll try to get all different angles. It might take me a minute to do one crystal. A minute. That's it. And it's as simple as that. When smudging, especially with a sage smudge, it also clears the environment as well. And so that's why I told you, like on a Sunday, when it's like self-care Sunday, I might go through and smudge my entire space. And at that time, I'll get some of like the larger crystals and the stationary crystals at that same exact time. You can also smudge yourself, get rid of your negative energy with sage. Sage is just wonderful. That smoke pulls it in and dispels it. Can you use an incense to smudge or cleanse crystals? Absolutely. So like I was saying, the smoke is going to be what binds the negative energy and then dispels it. So yes, you can use incense. You can use other smudges like I mentioned before, rosemary, juniper, lavender. You can use all of those because it's a smoke that's working its magic, although you are getting the properties of the herbs that you're using. So what I'll say with incense is make sure they're natural incense. You don't want anything that has any artificial colors, fragrances, dyes, because now you're releasing those toxins into the air, which you don't need or want. What you want is a natural product. So make sure it's a natural incense. If you make it yourself, you know exactly what's in it. Or if you buy something that is made from someone that has only used natural ingredients, including natural fragrances like essential oils or flower essences, not toxic fragrances. There are so many chemicals in fragrances and unnatural colors, right? Dyes. So just be careful with that. But yes, you can use incense. Last question. What is the best crystal for love? That's so vague. There's so many types of love. Are we talking about self-love? Are we talking about compassion? Are we talking about romantic love? Are we talking about love as in friendships and family? So many types of love. So many different crystals associated with it. So here's what I'll say to keep it simple. In general, I'll choose crystals are associated with the heart chakra, since the heart chakra is the chakra associated with those feelings of love and compassion, and whether it's self-love, romantic love, family love, whatever. So I'll choose crystals that are associated with the heart chakra. So crystals like rose quartz, although a lot of people want to run to rose quartz, it may not necessarily be the best one for you. One of my favorites is rhodochrosite, which I only have small pieces of, like in a bracelet, which I need to start wearing again. But I'm going to actually do a whole video on crystals for love. So drop that in the comments if you want to see it. Give me a thumbs up as well if you want to see that, because I think that's worthy of its own like 10-minute spread. But any crystals associated with the heart chakra, so rose quartz, rhodochrosite, rhodonite, pink opal, kunzite. What else? Pink. So if you don't know, pink crystals and green crystals are associated with the heart chakra. It has two colors. So adventurine, jade, malachite, all of these are crystals associated with the heart chakra. So choose some of those crystals. And what I would say is the ones that speak to you, the ones that are calling you, those are probably the ones that you're going to work better with, work best with. So I love rose quartz just as much as the next, but I don't love it as much as some of the others for love. I love malachite. Love it. Absolutely love it. I love, like I said, rhodochrosite. I'll just give you a quick example. So I went through a really, really tough breakup with my first adult relationship. And this was many, many moons ago. And it was really hard and it was really tough on me. Like, I am very sensitive. I'm very emotional, not in a sense of like, oh my gosh, emotions, but inside. I'm a water sign. So my emotions run really deep and, I'm always churning over things. So it hit me kind of hard. And I gravitated towards rhodochrosite at that time, which is a beautiful pink kind of raspberry with swirls of white through it. I'll have to get a big piece to show you guys. Maybe I'll do that by the time I do the love video. I'll do that. But it's just a really beautiful crystal. And so my mom makes jewelry, or at least she did. She, not so much these days, but she made me a rhodochrosite bracelet, and it had these really gem quality pieces of rhodochrosite spaced with like quartz crystal, and it was just beautiful. And so at the time I didn't really realize it, but what I realize now, for me and for many others, rhodochrosite is really good at heartache and heartbreak and helping you really tune back into yourself and really getting into that self-love that you need after a breakup, because it can really hit you hard. So rhodochrosite is wonderful for that. And I didn't even realize it was just my intuition saying, hey, can you make me a bracelet out of that? I really like that. And then me wearing it like every single day. And then one day it broke. And it had to be a year that I wore this thing straight, showered in it, bathed in it, swam in it, and it just broke. Like the clasp came or something came off and there were little beads all over the place. I was like, oh my gosh, mommy, you have to make it for me again. And she did, but I never really wore it again like I did before it broke. And it was because our time was up. I didn't need to wear it every day, all day anymore. It had done its job. It worked with me to raise my frequency, to get me out of that, whatever, that funk that I was in. And so that's what I'll say about crystals for love. It really just depends. But we'll do a whole video on that. So that concludes our crystal Q&A part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check that out. Lots of different questions. I think about 10 questions like this time. And so if you have any questions that you want included in the next installment of Q&A, we'll do one maybe in about 2 months or so. Drop it in the comments and I will try my best to include it in either that one or the following one, because I already have a lot of questions that I didn't get to. So it might be the one after, but drop it in the comments and I will certainly insert it into a crystal Q&A. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Zuzunatural. Peace out.